paste this from Total RL website. Do go to Total RL and Love Rugby League to get all your rugby league news. And it says in the statement, he reveals that Coral's deal for the Challenge Cup has a clause in it which the title sponsor can withdraw after one season. Neil, writing in the Northwest Evening Mail, has detailed how he attended an RFL meeting last week along with other clubs, which he says was more of a workshop for the clubs about how to improve their media and commercial performance. And Neil has suggested that Coral, who reportedly agreed a 2-year deal at the start of the season to sponsor the game's flagship cup competition, apparently have the option to withdraw their sponsorship after a single season. Neil explained, they, meaning the RFL, then proudly tell us that Coral have signed a 2-year deal for the Challenge Cup, but they then mention they can pull out after one. In my eyes, that's a 1-year deal. Neil did not stop there. With some interesting revelations about the Summer Bash, he suggested that there's no TV deal with Sky finalised for the Bash, which takes place in May, but also there's no sponsor and not one piece of ground advertising has been sold. I guess it's going to be hard to sell ground advertising if they don't have a TV deal. So a bit more of a shit show going on in rugby league then. It's not
There's a surprise.
At least it's not just the Wigan club that are causing problems. I mean, off the back of this, Andy Maisie, the Swinton chairman, has made calls for Championship and League One clubs to maybe try and go out on their own away from the RFL, like the Super League has done. So even more diminishing the power that the RFL has over the game, even though they're expected to still govern the game. Set the rules, work out the distributions, arrange internationals and the Challenge Cup, but with an ever diminishing presence at the top table of the club game. That seems difficult, doesn't it?
Yes, it's.
Do you have? Do you think this does show a weakness in the leadership of the RFL? Do you think it just makes things even worse for people like Ralph Rimmer at the top?
I think that they should get rid of them all and actually employ somebody that's got any sense.
The other thing actually RFL related that I was reading before we started, Sarah, was they've released a statement today which was only just longer than the Wigan statement, to be honest, which basically said that they are considering bids from North America now, and the New York bid as well as the Eric Perez led bid where they've bought the Hemel Stags League One licence are both being put forward now to for the bids to make presentations to the existing League One and Championship clubs, who can then have a say on how they feel about having these clubs come into the competition. So I guess that's going to be another great split amongst those different clubs, which is going to be chairman's statement time again in a few weeks, I think.
Yep, we'll look forward to that.
We always love a good chairman's statement on the Super League pod. Now, if you guys are following along the news over the next week, look out for the Google form for news views to get in with your views on next week. We get Tom Andrews is very good at getting his views on the news. The rest of you need to pick up your game and match what Tom's doing. And that is the news from around the world of rugby league. Super League match reviews time now then, and it was round 6 of Super League this weekend. I'm going to start with the positive before we talk about all the results that we didn't go our way, Sarah. And we're going to start with the average attendance of this round was 9,162, which is the second highest of the 6 rounds completed so far. So that's a positive. Game 1, Sarah, Thursday night's game at Huddersfield. Do you want to take us through the key information on that one?
Yep, so it finished Huddersfield 12, St Helens 40 after being 12-16 to St Helens at half-time. There were 4,495 people there, and it was refereed by Scott Michalauskas. So the stats, Huddersfield hurt themselves in this game, 14-12 loss in errors and 8-4 loss on the penalty count. The Giants ended with below 1,000 metres. St Helens had over 400 metres more than the Giants, made round a 1 metre per carry better average gain, although only one more break despite ending with a 7-2 try win. Individually, for St Helens, Alex Walmsley made 162 metres, Kevin Nagayamo made 138 metres, Regan Grace with 1 try, 5 tackle busts and 108 metres and 2 clean breaks. And James Raby with 2 try assists and 102 metres. For Huddersfield, Jerry McGilvray scored 1 try and made 118 metres. Jordan Turner, 1 try and 107 metres. Cruz Leemings made 52 tackles, of which 10 were marker tackles, and Alex Mellon made 46 tackles. Dave, for the fans?
Yeah, the first fan view from Dave. That could have been a really good game, but the ref had to ruin it.
Tom Andrews said, no amount of vigorous cowbelling couldn't stop the Saints in this one. They are the team to beat this year, despite their backline all transforming into Greg Eden in the first half. Will take some team to stop them.
At M9UHL said, didn't watch, but I love the cowbell, so do the NRL, as I hear the same cowbell in the Melbourne and Broncos games. No wonder there ain't no Huddersfield fans. They're all Aussies. Sorry, Hudders, but all Leeds need to do is make sure we do a Titanic and hold on to that floating piece of ship that let you drown?
And let you drown.
Oh, and let you drown. Right, I'm with it. Hold on, Jack. But there's a chance we are the guy getting crushed by the chimney early on.
Well, that encompasses it all, doesn't it?
That's such a bizarre reference that I was not expected to read out. Well, it's all right, Josh. Your heart will go on.
Even if it's in the Championship. Rob says, we were decent in the first half, probably because of all the Saints errors, but all we seem to get is injuries. We need another win, so when's Leeds?
POB 1976 said, not the best of games, but St Helens the better team and deserved the win.
Tim G said, amazing grace, hashtag Regan Grace 4GB.
St David said, Huddersfield gave us as good a first half as any we have had this season, matching us for aggressive defence and repeatedly testing and indeed beating us on our left edge. Nevertheless, we scored 3 tries and bombed us many again, and most around me felt we would pull away in the second half, which proved correct. Roby, Coote, Lomax and Farge were at the heart of everything. Tough test at Rob's gaff next week. Onwards.
Mark W said, an entertaining first half. If it wasn't for a knock-on in the final minutes, we could have ended it in the lead. Second half was a different story. A few decisions against us early on, and yet another one-man bench left us shattered and unable to handle the league's toughest pack, resulting in a trademark final 15-minute capitulation. With English and Wardell would have had a better shout, but excuses don't get you off 12th.
And PaulMac_78 said, felt like we were in the game for 50 minutes, but Saints class showed in the end. Going to take a good team to beat them. Darnell was great for the Giants. He is making the fullback spot his own. Has been the Giants' best player in all 3 games I've watched this year. Yeah, felt like the Giants were in the game for 50 minutes, Sarah. What do you make of that? Pretty much spot on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think like when Thompson went over so... the third minute you thought, is this just going to be one-way traffic? But actually the first half itself was fairly entertaining. And then after half-time, I'm afraid I just got bored. It did feel like a lot of the 50-50 calls went St Helens' way. And, when you're playing St Helens, particularly when you're 12th in the league, having any 50-50 calls going against you is never going to help. I think
it's like the Giants used up all the luck on all the drop balls that Saints had in the first half, and then that was their luck gone. Yeah,
I mean who was it touched on? Mark W, the injuries that they had, when you are down to sort of one person on the bench, you are going to struggle. I think the highlight for me was Joe Wardell after he received the headbang and deciding he was going to play on and trying to make his way into the defensive line, but he wasn't quite sure which way he was going until he was tackled by the physio. I think that was maybe my highlight of the night.
He literally was tackled by him to get him off, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, it really did make me chuckle that. Saints were good across the park, really. I think it's hard to sort of, particularly pick anybody out as standout.
Do you think from what you've seen of Saints in the last few weeks that their overseas players are starting to work pretty well? Lachlan Coote and Kevin Nagwama are seamlessly fitting in now, aren't they? They're making the team tick.
Yeah, they are looking better.
Any of the
and I think that like the front row for Saints, I mean, I think if they stay fit, that's going to be a massive thing for them, isn't it?
Yeah, they are awesome in the front row. Was there any... Although James Roby got pulled off again towards the end, which for us people who've shelled out the big bucks on him in the fantasy league because he's like one of the most expensive players, I'm just getting fed up with Justin Holbrook sabotaging that spending of mine.
Maybe that's what he's doing. It's deliberate.
I can only think that's what it is now, Sarah. Any of the tries stand out for you particularly? I know in the second half it wasn't really as exciting, so maybe half an eye on them, but any of the tries stood out for you?
I enjoyed seeing McGilvery score. I don't know whether that was just because I thought, oh, here we go, is it going to go one way? But then, I thought for Huddersfield, McGilvery did have a decent game, and for him to get that first try quite soon after Saints had scored, it was good for them.
And it was great hands by the fullback, Darnell McIntosh as well, weren't it?
Yeah, so I do agree with Paul. He is doing really well on the whole.
Yeah, McIntosh. Excellent stuff. I think the listeners summed that one up really well for us, didn't they?
Yeah.
Good first half, good second half for Saints.
This is it. If you were a Saints fan, you'd have loved it, wouldn't you? But for the rest of us, it was a bit boring.
Okay, well, let's move on to a game that maybe...
was equally boring.
Yes. On Friday night, you were at the KCOM to watch your Hull FC. So what happened?
We lost 32-12 to Wakefield. Half-time was 14-12 to Wakefield. There were 11,190 people there, and it was refereed by Liam Moore. So the stats have Wakefield well on top. They made over 300 more metres at a better average gain, and 10 breaks to 3 all favoured Wakefield. Hull hurt themselves with 3 more errors, 1 more penalty conceded, and 3.5% worse team tackle success rate. Individually, for Wakefield, David Fifita made 10 tackle busts and 162 metres. Ryan Hampshire scored 1 try assist and 147 metres. Reece Lynn scored 1 try assist, 7 tackle busts and 131 metres and 2 clean breaks. Bill Tupu, 2 tries, 6 tackle busts, 121 metres and 3 clean breaks. For Hull, Beretta Farema scored 1 try and made 116 metres. Sika Manu made 5 tackle busts and 103 metres, and Danny Houghton scored 1 try and made 57 tackles.
Okay. Tom Andrews said, "Bang! Hear that? That's FC's bubble bursting when they finally had to play a team not in the bottom 3, conceding that many at home to a team that couldn't even score a try against Rovers. The Radders out, bed sheets will be out again, and thankfully those bloody shirts will be in the wash this week."
Wakey White says, "Great win for Wakey tonight, although massively overshadowed by what looks like bad injuries to Johnston and Tupou. Other than the last 10 minutes of the first half, Wakefield looked in control and were good value for the money. Kopchak and Fafita knocking the whole pack around like they were children laid the foundations for the quick balls that did the damage on the scoreboard."
The Tupou injury, that was another knee injury, wasn't it? So I'm guessing not quite as severe as Tom Johnston's, because we haven't had a line out about how long that one was. Did that one look bad as well?
It didn't look bad. He was able to get up, and although very wobbly, he did manage to get up and make his way back to the defensive line. Thankfully, Sikamanu showed a few brains and ran at him. So no, I don't think that is not anywhere near as serious.
Excellent stuff. Paige said, "There must have been a draw before the match, which said all decisions must go Wakefield's way. What an absolute shambolic performance from a referee who doesn't deserve to ref in Super League. Wakefield must be the new Wigan of Super League. One little moan penalty to Wakefield. However, on the other hand, a very flat performance from FC with not much go forward. Seriously missing a big offloading prop." Yeah,
completely agree with everything Paige says. AK Steel 69 said, Hull's worst performance of the season, but credit to Wakey, who are easily the better team.